Hey, vegan freaks. It's Saturday, September 16th, and this is Podcast 47.
Is the now generation. They feel disenchanted with the world around them. While they may, for the most part, be outside the mainstream of American life, they are a part of the wave of the future. Webster defines the word now as meaning at the moment or at once. Seldom has a nation been able to witness such an explosion, a new mass mind, a nowness as it takes place. Today, we are seeing it. Of bobby socks and ice cream sodas is gone. These people no longer feel constrained by the social rules of the past. They are better read and more concerned about all people and all cultures. An older generation could learn about fresh thinking from them. Their energy is boundless. They play hard, but they are also involved.
And welcome back to Vegan Freak Radio. That's from a 1960s anti-drug propaganda film called Drug Abuse, The Chemical Tomb. But when I was listening to watching Drug Abuse, The Chemical Tomb, I thought that beginning bit sounded like, it could be used to describe vegans, man. We're like totally cool. We're the now generation.
We are the now. We've got a lot to show people, a lot to teach people.
We've got a lot to teach people. People from other generations could learn from us.
And ice cream soda days are over.
That's right. No more fucking ice cream sodas for you.
No, man.
Ice cream soda days are over. And we're like the now, man. We're the now generation. We're with it. We've got what you need.
Mm-hmm.
We've got what the planet needs. Mm-hmm. We've got what animals need.
Indeed.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Oh, that's weird.
Hallelujah.
Weird. Yeah, I went from 60s radical to preacher. I don't know how that happens. Isn't that Jim Jones? Isn't that how that happens?
I guess.
Wasn't he the Kool-Aid guy?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, we are here to challenge all the receive wisdom about the world.
Indeed.
Especially as it concerns the way in which animals are abused and used, and why you should be vegan and why you should get off your ass and be a vegan if you're not. Mm-hmm. And why we're elitist and we love vegans.
It's because we're the shit.
Because we rock. Oh my. Okay, so we've got a show to do here. Sorry we weren't around last week. Work is killing us both.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, it is. I'm working like 14, 15-hour days.
Yeah.
It's killer.
Yeah. But we've managed to carve out time for the podcast. Made time because it's important to us. Got to get the word out there.
Yeah, I lost my... Oh, here it is. I lost all my paperwork for the show.
Because our table's a little bit too small.
Yeah, we're running out of room.
Right. But we need to start off by thanking a bunch of people.
Fuck yeah.
Who sent us cool shit. We need to thank Brooke, Rudy, Veronica, Peter, and Joey.
Nice.
All sent us cool shit.
Yeah, we love cool stuff.
We do.
It was like Christmas here the other day when we checked our P.O. box.
I know.
It was great.
We got a bunch of t-shirts because we are now elite members of the Secret Society of Vegans.
Are you supposed to talk about it?
In certain circles, yes, I think you're allowed to talk about it.
Isn't the first rule of the secret society vegans that it's secret and you shouldn't talk about it?
I don't know, you got to ask Rudy.
Oh. Well, I have a little card that says I'm a member.
Yes.
And a t-shirt. So, yeah, that's cool.
And we got toothpaste.
We got toothpaste from Brooke and Peter.
And Peter. Because I complained the other day that we could only get corporate whore toothpaste here.
It's true.
We can get Tom's, which is vegan, however, owned by Colgate. So
corporate whores.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so people send us non-corporate whore toothpaste, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. All the way from Australia as well. And all the way from Texas.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Very cool.
A lot of different varieties. So
yes.
we will have clean teeth and fresh, minty, tea tree, lovely breath for a long time. We really appreciate it.
And Veronica sent us t-shirts too.
Yeah.
Which we exchange for books.
We're always up for exchanging goods. Mm-hmm. If you have vegan arts and crafts or other cool stuff and you want to exchange them for any of the Tofu Hound Press books that we have out, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're cool with swapping like that.
Yeah, man. Got to keep it in the community, yeah? So.
And Veronica's also put on her blog, we mentioned before, because she's the one that does the receipts project.
Right.
That they sell T-shirts on their website, but now they're deciding not to sell them, so they're trying to get rid of their stock, basically. So if you want a T-shirt, they're cool. Go get them.
They are cool. I like the one I have a lot. It's just kind of equality for animals on it, and kind of cut and paste kinds of writing. It's very cool.
Yeah, I got one that says, it's a cow on it. It says, no me comas.
Moo.
Don't eat me.
You should wear that to your Spanish classes.
Should.
You see, activism.
Yes.
You've been dressing nice for work, though.
Yeah,
lately.
I have been.
You make me feel like a slob. I always dress like jeans and a T-shirt. And if I have a meeting, a button-down shirt. That's
your uniform.
Well, kind of. It's called laziness, mostly.
As the weather gets colder, I'll dress less nice.
True. So let's get moving on the show.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to talk about this cream cheese festival.
Oh, God.
On the radio the other morning on our local NPR station, they were interviewing somebody who's putting on this cream cheese festival near here, because apparently there's a craft plant that produces cream cheese near here.
Yeah.
So they thought, well, they'll celebrate it. And so the activities include, they're going to create, I think it was this weekend, so they're creating the world's biggest cheesecake. Yum. And then they're having a bagel and cream cheese eating contest. The thought of that just sort of makes me ill.
Yeah, it is disgusting. Imagine how thick that is.
I know. Like, how can anybody eat more than one bagel in a sitting?
How can anybody eat all that cream
that
cheese?
Too.
It's disgusting.
And then they're having this, like, cream cheese toss. Like, it's like making a game out of it. Like, you're supposed to stand 10 feet apart and then hold out your shirt or something. And then you're supposed to throw cream cheese at your partner, and you're supposed to see how much you can catch in your little shirt or whatever.
Isn't the tossing what you do after you've eaten too much cream cheese?
Apparently.
Yep.
I would think. But does that kind of stuff, these kind of festivals where they like make games out of, dairy products and, people who toss eggs at cars, all these kind of things just make me really sick. I mean, animals had to suffer to produce those products, and we're making games out of them.
Games.
It just really, I don't know what the best word to describe it is. It's just rude. I don't know.
Why is it rude?
Because we're just like...
Well, why is it any more rude than eating it?
Well, I guess if you were an omnivore, you'd at least say, well, I'm getting my sustenance from these products.
Yeah, the animal has given its life spirits to me, and it wanted willingly to give me this.
Right, but to throw it at people and make a game out of it, that's sick. And, I see all these products, too, advertised in the newspaper and in the grocery stores. They're, marketed towards kids, like these yogurt kind of things. Yeah. And they put cartoon characters on them and make them seem all cool and hip and fun. And, it's all from dairy cows that had to suffer.
Indeed.
It's really sad.
It is sad. And when I drive by dairy farms and I see cows there, and around here we still have cows that go outside, unlike most of the rest of the U.S., I drive by the farms, I see the cows, and I always think, man, that cow is going to die a horrible, violent death with a steel bolt through its head. Sad.
It is sad.
Well, I don't know. They're trying to drum up all the support they can for cream cheese around here because there's nothing else going. I mean, shit, we live in one of the most economically depressed parts of New York State, so that's all you got. It's sad, but that's where we're at.
I just thought that I was kind of getting grossed out the other day listening to that on the radio.
It is disgusting, too.
So, yeah.
Our local NPR station sucks.
Yeah, they had the whole series a while back about dairy farmers.
Yeah, they did.
Of course, they never ever mentioned what happened to the baby cows.
Well, of course not. Why would they do that? No. They never do that. I don't know. I don't really like our local NPR affiliate. A lot of people say it's good, but I don't like it.
But we've aired our gripes about NPR before. Anyway.
Yeah, we have. But our local affiliate is it's really boring.
Well, yeah.
And they have the worst theme songs in the morning.
They do. It's so annoying. I
should record it and play it for you sometime. It's really horrible. I curse about it every morning. You can ask Jenna.
Yeah. But at least it gets us out of bed because we're so angry.
That's true. That's true. Well, what else? Are you done with that?
I'm done with that.
Okay, so as many of you know, also there was some sentencing this week in the Shack case. Stop Huntington animal cruelty case. Oh man, where do you begin with this? It's just sad. Well, I'll just read the stuff on their website. If you don't know who the Shack 7 are, you really should. We did an interview with them back in February, with Josh Harper from the Shack 7 back in February.
Something like that.
You can search on our podcast site now. If you go to podcast.beingfree.com, I put in a little search box, and you can search. So you can find things very easily. But anyway, if you go back, we did an interview with Josh Harper about the case, and that really explains it the best. But let's see. What do we have here? Well, they were sentenced. So Josh Harper was sentenced to 36 months, which is crazy. It says here, let's see. The prosecution urged for a lengthy prison sentence, which the court rejected, instead sentencing Josh to 36 months in prison, a share in the $1,001,001 restitution to Huntington Life Sciences, who beats puppies, essentially, 3 years supervised release, and $200 in special assessments. Like the other defense, Josh has 30 days to turn himself in and will remain on house arrest in the interim. So Josh got 36 months, which is horrible, but I actually was worried he would get more.
Yeah, that's the sad thing, is that they could have gotten way more than they got.
Yeah, they could have.
It's kind of scary, yeah.
And then the other ones here, let's see. Today was, and this is from the first day of Shack sentencing, and it says, today was the first day of sentencing for the Shack 7 defendants. It was both an inspiring and disappointing day. Inspiring to see a courtroom packed full of activists who had traveled from all corners of the country, overflowing into the lobby. A powerful reminder that despite attempts by government, activists will not be intimidated. It was also a disappointing day as the government dealt yet another blow to activists everywhere. Once again, the government reminded activists that speaking out too loud and being too effective won't be tolerated in post-9/11 America. That's true. The organization, Shack USA, was sentenced first, which is ultimately a symbolic act by the court. As any Shack USA does not really exist, the court then moved on to individual defendants. After a tirade of inflammatory rhetoric by the prosecutor, impassioned speeches by the defense, and commentary by the court handed down the following sentences. Kevin Jonas, 72 months. Lauren Gazzola, 52 months. Jacob Conroy, 48 months. In addition, the court ordered the penniless defendants to pay $1,001 in restitution. Each defendant was also given 3 years of supervised release upon release from prison, with conditions that they not violate any laws and will be subjected to computer monitoring by the government. While the sentences are unjust, just as this entire case has been, there is some victory in that most of the defendants receive significantly less prison time than prescribed by federal sentencing guidelines. More importantly, they received sentences that were nearly half of what the prosecution urged. Unfortunately, the court had a scheduling conflict, so there was not enough time to sentence all the other defendants. So far, that's what we're looking at. And, man, that, to go away for that long, it's just completely fucking ridiculous, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to appeal, yes.
Well, yeah, but they're going to appeal, but, they're still going to go. Yeah. And the appeal won't go in 30 days.
No, of course not.
So they're still going to have to surrender themselves to prison for, in my mind, essentially speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What I find amazing, though, is, I read some stuff that Josh, on the Food Fight website, there was a statement that Josh made, and I meant to print it and forgot, but it was really impressive. So you should go check that out.
Mm-hmm.
But they're hanging in there, and, I don't know. It's just, it hit me kind of hard when I read it. I was just like, man, try to think of myself in prison for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. It'd be horrible.
Mm-hmm. It would be.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
You have nothing to say?
Or you said it. It's horrible.
Yep.
That's all.
Okay, so what else are we going to talk about?
Recent Satya? Or do you want to play a song now, or you want to wait?
It's a little early for a song,
Okay, it is early for a song.
It's only 15 minutes in.
Yeah, okay. We'll wait for the song.
We should put the song on the halfway point of the show, more or less.
Right.
So we want to talk about now?
Well, we mentioned last time on the show that the most recent issue, the September issue of Satya, kicks ass.
It does.
And not just because Bob has an article in it.
No, I'm not just saying that. I actually think that the issue itself really does a very nice job of looking at both sides of a debate, of a complex debate.
Yes. And it brings in a lot of different issues and elements, and I haven't read the whole thing yet, but the people who are writing the articles is just amazing. There
are great articles in there by James Levesque. I think it's the guy who did, he's behind Tribal Heart, who did, remind me of the names of those films? Peaceable Kingdom, The Witness.
Eddie Lama, who was in The Witness, wrote an excellent article as well.
Yep. And you get the same old standard line from the rest of the industry, though.
Yeah. There's also a good one from... I can't remember her name right now. Anyway, but Satya's been having a lot of great issues lately. I think that just recently, everything's been really excellent. Oh, Colleen Patrick Goudreau, who wrote an excellent article, and we are actually going to interview her in a few weeks. If you can get the interview thing working.
I will get it working. I just haven't had the time to really dig into it. But one of the things that I noticed in this latest issue of Satya is like on page 7, which is really, by the time you're through all the ads, it's really like the second or third page of real content in the magazine. It's a whole page ad from Animal Rights International, and it's addressed to John Mackey, Chief Executive Officer, Whole Foods Markets, 500 Bowie Street, Austin, Texas, 78703. I wish I had his phone number. And Dear John, it's a Dear John. Dear John, we give up on the animal rights movement. We support you. I mean, the undersigned animal welfare. Dear John, the undersigned animal welfare, animal protection, animal rights organizations would like to express their appreciation and support for the pioneering initiative being taken by Whole Foods Markets in setting the farm animal compassionate standards. We hope and expect that these standards will improve the lives of millions of animals, and it's signed by Animal Rights International, Animal Welfare Institute, Animal Place, Animal Protection Institute, Association of Vets for Animal Rights, Bay Area Vegetarians, Christian Vegetarian Association, Compassion Over Killing, Doris Day Animal League, East Bay Animal Advocates, Farm Sanctuary, Humane Society US, PETA, Mercy for Animals, Northwest in Defense of Animals, Vegan Outreach, and Viva. And it's signed Peter Singer. And it's from Animal Rights International, and it has him listed as President, Professor Peter Singer. Well, Professor Peter Singer, it's Professor Torres telling you I think you're full of crap. So, I don't know. I mean, I understand the ideas, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but...
Because that's not vegan.
Because it's not vegan. But I don't want to keep going over the same thing over and over again every week, making Whole Foods my whipping boy. But, fuck. I mean, I can't possibly be the only person on... Actually, what Satya made me realize this issue is that I'm not the only person on the planet who thinks that this strategy of getting into bed with people that support the consumption of animals is absurd.
Yes.
I'm not the only person on the planet who feels that way, and I've always have wondered about that. Like, am I the only one who feels this way?
No. Eddie Lama goes after it, too, in his article. It's very good. So you're not the only one that feels that way. Not at all. You're right there.
I got too excited. I'm choking.
Wrong pipe. You okay?
Sorry. I was drinking water, and I don't know what happened. I just got off verklempt. Anyway, fuck. You should be talking.
Okay. Anyway, Gary Francione
has
some interesting things to say.
He does.
Not in the Satya article, but in Abolition Online, which is an Australian, isn't it?
Yeah. It's everywhere. It's the web.
Well, yeah, okay. But comes out of Australia.
And, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you have it there, so what does he say? And he also wrote a letter, like an email letter, in response to Peter Singer. So he's basically responding to Peter Singer specifically.
Yeah, this was forwarded to me by from Claudette Vaughn, who is... I think the mastermind of Abolition Online. I'm not sure what else to... Editor? I don't know. What else to you? Who knows?
Something like that.
But this is from Gary Francione, and we did try to get him on the show a while back, and we never kind of made it work. But I want to make it work and get him on.
It's just a matter of finding a good weekend for everybody.
Yeah, or a good weekday.
Yeah,
even,
exactly.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But it says, Dear colleagues, I generally no longer comment on movement matters, and this is from Gary Francione, on lists or in groups, preferring to spend my time on books, articles, and website contributions. I do, however, feel compelled to comment on something that I just read and that exceeded even my capacity to be astonished by the behavior of some so-called animal advocates. I recently read The Way We Eat, Why Our Food Choices Matter by Peter Singer and Jim Mason. Although I was disturbed by the author's welfarist argument that it can be ethical to eat animals and animal products, and that we should not be fanatical about the matter, that is nothing new from these two. Indeed, Singer has been taking that position for years, and unfortunately the notion that we can consume with compassion, in quotes, enjoys a much greater currency within the movement than does the clear endorsement of veganism as a moral baseline of the movement. Thank you. But that is not what I want to comment on presently. In the book, the authors write that they learned that a turkey company needed workers to work on their artificial insemination crew. Our curiosity piqued. We decided to see for ourselves what this work really involved. Singer and Mason spent a day collecting the semen and getting it into the hen, unquote. They caught and restrained male turkeys while another worker, quote, squeezed the tom's vent until it opened up and the white semen oozed forth. Using a vacuum pump, he sucked it into a syringe. Singer and Mason then had to, quote unquote, break the hens, which involved restraining the hen so that her rear is straight up and her vent open, in quotes. The inseminator then inserted a tube into the hen and used a blast of compressed air to insert the semen into the hen's oviduct. And it wasn't just the turkeys who had an unpleasant time. Singer and Mason complained that their day at the turkey factory was, quote, the hardest, fastest, dirtiest, most disgusting, worst paid work we've ever done. I thought Singer was a professor. Anyway, just kidding. For 10 hours, we grabbed and wrestled birds, jerking them upside down, facing their pushed open assholes, dodging their spurting shit, while breathing air filled with dust and feathers stirred up by panicked birds. All that, and they receive a torrent of verbal abuse from the foreman. I suggest that there is no non-speciesist way to justify what Singer and Mason did without also justifying the rape of a woman or the molestation of a child in order to see what those acts of violence really involved. Perhaps Singer's perverse actions with the turkeys can be explained by his claim in 2001 on Nerve.com that, quote, sex with animals does not always involve cruelty, and that we can have, quote, mutually satisfying sexual contact with animals. Dum dum dum. That reminds me of the guy who rolled himself in oil, wrote himself in oats, and then went out into the pen of horses to be licked. Yeah. But I am perplexed that there has been no general objection to this voiced by the quote-unquote movement. Indeed, I have read a number of very favorable reviews of this book, including from Karen, Dawn, Martin Rowe, Eric Marcus, Veg News, and others that have not only praised the book despite its position that we can be ethically conscientious omnivores, but have failed even to mention that Singer and Mason engaged in conduct that unquestionably constitutes violence towards non-humans. Although Karen Davis complains that the book is speciesist, not even she mentions the turkey episode except to complain at the language Singer and Mason used to describe turkey genitals. Talk about missing the forest for the trees. In any event, if violence against humans, non-humans, is acceptable, according to the supposed father of the movement, then perhaps the movement has gotten beyond the point at which meaningful self-reflection is even possible. Thank you for your consideration of my views. If you wish to read a longer discussion of my views on Singer's defense of animal welfare, you can go to www.abolitionist-online.com. Gary L. Francione.
Yep. And in his article here, which is kind of long, so I'm not going to read most of it, but he does basically go through 5 reasons for an abolitionist to reject the welfarist approach presented in the Singer-Friedrich essay that appears in Satya. Number 1 being that animal welfare is making exploitation more efficient. Number 2, that animal welfare is making the public more comfortable about animal exploitation.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Number 3, goal. What goal? He says basically how welfare, Singer and Friedrich talk about how welfare promotes animal rights, and then he debates that. And then 4, they create a false dichotomy between animal welfare or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 is, whose side are you on? Good question. Wondering, well, by supporting animal welfare, who are you really supporting? You're supporting the animal industries. So.
Of course you are. And that's the thing that annoys me about that ad in Satya is that is an ad that is applauding someone who sells and makes a profit from dead animals. Like, I don't get it. They sell animals as a matter of course. Animal parts, dead animals, and they're applauding them. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you were to cut up small children, you would just do it nicely. Free range kids, right? We sell babies, but they're free range babies. It's okay. I just get very frustrated with that kind of position on things. And And I wanted to read some of this guest editorial from the August Satya article. It's one about Mythbusters, and it's got a picture of Dan Peraro on the front, which is an interesting article as well. But this, I think, really sums up as to why the welfarist position in the end is basically one that we cannot support. Yeah.
And this is going to be a little hard for me to read here because it's kind of gross. But, okay. The killing lines, this woman had to go do an inspection of an abattoir, or a slaughterhouse. And she describes her experience, and this is back in 1981. Her name is Patty Mark, by the way, and she works for Animal Liberation Victoria in Australia. She describes, the killing lines start at 7 a.m. I was standing on the narrow walkway above the stun pen. I was dressed in slaughterhouse gear, white coat, rubber boots, and white hat covering my hair, my clipboard and pen in hand. The iron chains and heavy metal gates were loud and slamming. The steam was rising, and the shower room where the cows were hosed down prior to their death was only meters along the chutes leading to the stun pen. One by one, the cows were jabbed with an electric prod to keep them moving. Their eyes flashed and darted wildly about, their nostrils flared wide open, and some were frothing at the mouth. The closer the cows got to the stun box, the more frenzied they became, contorting their bodies in all directions to try to go back, to anywhere else. The more they resisted, the more the painful jabs from the electric prod forced them forward. I braced myself to watch my first murder. I had taken the first sedative in my life an hour earlier, and it seemed to get me through. When the cow is locked in the stun box, she looks upwards and a captive bolt pistol is aimed at her head. A steel shaft 7 centimeters long penetrates her skull and renders her unconscious. It can take several attempts to hit the right spot. This happened, and the cow desperately kept trying to avoid the gun by banging and clanging her body into the sides of the stun pen. Our eyes met just as the bolt entered her head. My life froze in that moment, and I promised her that for the rest of my life I would do all I could to shut down abattoirs. The blood-stained notes from my 1981 are still in my files. Many more cows, sheep, pigs, and horses were to follow in subsequent inspections in various abattoirs. Pigs scream the loudest and fight the hardest to escape the knife. The most prolonged suffering I've ever had to witness was in New South Wales when a free-range pig was approaching the stunner. She was hysterical, frothing at the mouth. Her chest heaved and caved as she struggled valiantly and continuously to escape. I ached to yell out, "Stop! Enough!" and hold her in my arms, soothe her, give her a drink of cool water, then take her to a safe place. Smoke rose from her temples as the man held the electric stunner, firmly, longer than normal, to both sides of her head. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. But that's nature.
The end that they all meet, whether they were happy animals when they lived or whether they were miserable animals when they lived.
But that's the difference. Some people are able to look at that end and go, well, it's okay because they lived a happy life. And so they suffer for 10 or 15 minutes at the end and it's okay.
Yeah. But how can you possibly do that to an animal? I mean, it's horrible.
Well, I mean, I think the argument is that it's better than nothing to have a good life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
I don't agree with that argument.
Yes, okay.
Necessarily. I think we need to. I think we just need to preach. We need to talk about abolition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I think we need to talk about. Is just no, stop. It needs to be abolitionist. Period, and nothing else.
Right. And then in her editorial, she goes on to talk about the singer's book as well. And then at the end, she says, "This is an alarm bell appealing to compassionate people and animal activists everywhere to step back and look at the bigger picture. If we substitute humans for animals in Signer's reasoning, the inherent speciesism of his viewpoint becomes clear. Would we argue that fewer beatings and a longer chain would make slavery acceptable or ethical? Not any more than we should contemplate kindly cutting the throat of an innocent animal to feed our face." While Singer would argue that his moderate approach provides a stepping stone for the average consumer who is frightened by the word vegan, it merely serves to perpetuate the false belief that animals are our property to use as we like.
Fuck yeah.
It is our job to lead the way to abolition. To work for anything less is to put your finger on the trigger of the captive bolt pistol.
Indeed. Yeah. I agree.
I just had to read that because it just fucking kicks ass.
It does.
It just really hits home as to why it's so problematic.
I agree.
Yeah. It was very hard for me to read.
I know, you look like you're getting all misty-eyed there.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You big softy.
I know.
People always
I'm just an emotional vegan here.
People always accuse vegans of being sentimental. You're just a sentimentalist, a child who's never grown up with her love of animals.
Of course.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what a ridiculous thing. I mean, I don't know. Blah. What are we doing now? Didn't we have a voicemail?
We had a voicemail related to that.
Which one is this?
Robin.
You haven't labeled them clearly.
Well, Robin. It's Robin.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. My name is Robin. I've called before. I'm that vegan opera singer that had an issue, I guess, about 3 months ago at a party. But I just wanted to call to tell Bob that I think your article in Satya magazine was fantastic. I read the magazine and saved yours for last, and the whole time thinking about how conflicted I was with this welfarism issue, and you want people to be more considerate of animals and their lives, and then I got to your article, and it was just, God, it was freaking amazing. And one of the two things I wanted to comment on was something you said. You pointed out if welfarism worked, as promised, to limit consumption of animals and spur people into awareness, wouldn't we have seen that number actually go down? Duh! That's what I was thinking the whole time. And then the last thing is that you said veganism is living abolition in your daily life. Absolutely. By being vegans, the only way we can get the cruelty of animals, the treatment of the cruelty of animals to end, is by promoting veganism, period. End of story. So I just wanted to say congratulations. That article was really fantastic. And keep it up. You guys rock. Looking forward to the next podcast. Bye.
Thank you so much. That I really appreciate that. This article just honestly started out as a rant that I wrote on the blog a while ago. I just sat down and kind of dumped it out onto the page because I was getting very frustrated, actually, from arguments that were going on in the forums, really, where I haven't been in forever. I haven't barely been on the forums lately, but anyway, I really appreciate your kind words there. It's good because I kind of expected to get a lot of negative feedback from it. And I haven't gotten really... That's all the only feedback I've gotten as far as I know. So I do appreciate that. And cool.
Awesome.
So I don't know. I don't want to beat this thing too much, because it's kind of depressing, and it's a movement politics thing. And I don't know. It creates a lot of divisions, and go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, as we remarked in a podcast, I don't know, a bunch of weeks ago, people seem to be talking more about food lately, like where their food comes from, and it seems like a really important moment. And what a lot of people are arguing, like Peter Singer and Michael Pollan, who are out there, in the most mainstream, are arguing for eating happier animals.
That's
They're not
true.
arguing for not eating animals. And I think we need to get out there that there are really strong arguments for not eating them at all.
Yep.
So.
And in the article in Satya that James Levesque wrote, I think he calls it cutthroat compassion. It's like it's compassionate until you cut their throats. And that's such a good way to put it. And I think you raised a really good point. Like, we did talk about this a number of weeks ago, but as people think more and more about where their food's coming from, and they're more and more concerned about it, they're apt to make choices that reflect that concern. And if there is already a rhetoric out there that justifies to them making this choice, making the choice to eat humanely, quote unquote, humanely raised meat, and that rhetoric is very compelling, they're going to choose that. And if there's something else out there that I think can be more compelling, I think we might get them to choose that instead. And I don't know. I just think it's a fantastic waste of resources, personally.
And there are a lot of vegans out there doing great things, like showing many other people how wonderful it is to live as a vegan.
And I hate to almost get into it because I don't want to get into these kinds of divisive arguments, because I have a lot of friends who believe in the welfarist position, who embrace it. For example, Gary from Animal Writings is in very, very much into the welfarist position. Eric from Animal Friendly Life, I would say, is a welfarist. Eric Marcus, good friend of ours, who is really kind to us. I don't want to like offend him or his sensibilities, but on the other hand, I feel like this is something we need to talk about. We need to actually look at all sides of this issue, rather than accepting what HSUS tells us, what PETA tells us, and what these organizations say they think the right thing to do is. So I think we need to be intellectual about it, think about strategy for a movement, and use that in any way we can to help benefit the lives of animals.
I agree. Well put.
Yeah. So what else do we have here?
Maybe you should have a song to lighten the mood a little bit here.
Man, did I even put it in the soundboard?
I know you were playing it earlier.
I didn't put it in the soundboard. I'll just play it from there.
Okay.
It'll work. All right, so this song is actually quite different from what you will normally hear on Vegan Freak Radio. This is from Ryan, Vegblog Ryan, who... I was going to say he was pregnant, but he's not. His wife is pregnant. It'd be really funny if Ryan were pregnant. But yeah, they're expecting any day now. So I'm amazed that he found the time between setting up a nursery and doing 8,000 other things that he's doing to get a song to me. But this song is, let's see, Abdominal and DJ Phase, I guess is how you. It's called Fast Food, and it's the DJ format remix. Listen to the lyrics. It's quite different than what you'll normally hear on Vegan Freak Radio.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, stupid. Here we go.
Hear it. Yes. This one right here is a little love song I wrote. But it's not a song about my love for my girlfriend. Nor is it a song about my love for my family. Oh, no. This song right here is a song about my love for fast food. So do enjoy. I got a passion for fast food, that's undeniable. I like my food fried until everything be that same uniform shade of golden brown. But don't pat it down, please, cause the grease be helping it slide down the hatch more easily. Drive-thrus on the other side of the road be teasing me, beckoning and calling like culinary sirens, making me wanna divert my tires and just hop the median to get my hands on some fries and a patty of meat in between those two sesame seed buns. Though it leads to the runs when I eat tons, I still need some, is my attitude. So if you spot a Kentucky, we'll pass it through. Cause hammer's gone, but the popcorn chicken remains. I can't get enough of those chicken remains. So you behind the window pane of the drive-thru, link me up a family size, dude. Plus could you slide 2 packets of sauce, 1 BBQ, 1 sweet and sour. Add a little flavor to this meat that I devour on a basis that's too frequent to describe it as just regular. Tofu is the god? Fuck it, I'll stay secular. I worship fast food as the one and only deity. The only real sin in this religion is a diet. See, my confession booth be the drive-thru microphone. I get excited when my meal tastes like it wasn't made at home. If I want it home cooked, I stay at home. I want artificially enhanced chickens with more meat to the bone. Hitting 50 hot wings at one sitting. When I say fast food's my life, I'm not kidding. No, I swear to God, I'll do it. 50 wings, suicide, right now. Let's go. If fast food's wrong, then I don't wanna eat right. I'll probably get fat, and my dentist says my teeth might fall out of my head. But hey, that's my problem. Cause if the grub is greasy, I'ma gobble it. If fast food's wrong, then I don't wanna eat right. I'll probably get fat, and my dentist says my teeth might fall out of my head. But hey, that's my problem. Cause if the grub is greasy, I'ma gobble it. My fast food fetish is no flash in the pan, pun intended. I was sipping Shamrock shakes when they were invented. I ate chicken McNuggets the first week they were available. I ordered so many that the girl behind the counter thought I wasn't capable of eating them. But of course I did it. Whether it moose, clucks, bleats, grunts, or ribbits, stick it in the deep fryer, and it's all food to me. When I'm in Quebec, I catch wreck on some poutine. The routines wake up 12 donuts and a chiller. If meat is murder, then I'm that serial killer. Cause I tend to mangle Junior Bacon burgers from Wendy's. They always tempt me to be a Jew who's friendly with pork products. But don't tell my rabbi, he'll be like, "Oy vey, that abs guy is definitely getting struck down." If the grease doesn't get me first, but before my major arteries burst, I got one last chance to chase my blues away by linking up a dime bag worth a Toonie Tuesday. That's 10 chicken pieces plus 5 orders of fries. And as a matter of fact, could I get it supersized? See, if I'm going out, at least it's on a full belly. And that right there is the left field philosophy. Hey yo, that's our philosophy. When it's time to go, it's on a full belly. If fast food's wrong, then I don't wanna eat right. I'll probably get fat, and my dentist says my teeth might fall out of my head. But hey, that's my problem. Cause if the grub is greasy, I'ma gobble it. If fast food's wrong, then I don't wanna eat right. I'll probably get fat, and my dentist says my teeth might fall out of my head. But hey, that's my problem. Cause if the grub is greasy, I'ma gobble it.
There you go. Abdominal and DJ Phase, fast food.
That's the anti-dead prez.
It's the anti-dead prez, indeed. Yep.
That's just wrong.
It's so wrong on so many levels, but it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
So, well, thanks for that, Ryan. And you should head over to vegblog.org and say hi to Ryan. Mm-hmm. It is vegblog.org, right?
Yes, .org. Not .com.
As my Bulgarian students say, .orga. I want to talk about 2 different things real quick before we move on to the rest of the show. First is, both of which concern books of various kinds. Mm-hmm. The first is a review that we got at Amazon.com that I wrote about on our blog. But I thought I would mention it because I know some of you out there don't read the blog. because we don't update it once every 4 years or something. We were arguing about this when we were running. I was like, we should shut the blog down, and Jenna's like, we can't shut the blog down. I'm like, we should shut the blog down because we never update it. She's like, I'll update it more, and I'm like, no, you won't. And you're like, yeah, I will, and we never do. So here we are. What? Anyway, one review for our book that we get a lot of dumb reviews for our books. I just have to say, dumb reviews seem to really go with the territory for publishing anything.
Mm-hmm. But we had a lot of great reviews too. Don't forget.
We do actually. The vast majority of reviews that we got for Vegan Freak are really good reviews. Mm-hmm. So we thank those of you who wrote positive reviews of our book or honest reviews of our book. Mm-hmm. We do get, there are two different varieties of review. I mean, one variety of review, let's see if I can find it. One variety of review tends to be the people who are kind of old and grumpy about Vegan Freak. The middle-aged, Volvo driving.
Don't like the fact that we curse.
NPR loving folks. Let's see. What do they say here? We seem condescending and self-conscious. I like that. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand the random put-downs of middle-aged ex-hippie types. Would these be the same people who paved the way for us modern-day vegans? Such remarks have nothing to do with being vegan and distracted from the overall focus of the book. So there we go. We got that one from Geek Girl, whomever she may be.
I don't know. But they are responsible for the tasteless crap food that most people associate with veganism now.
They're also responsible for those stupid fucking arguments about veganism can feed the world. Mm-hmm. And I like this too. I try to remain in the spirit of the book, hip, cool, a bit off the cuff, but the author started to become like the guest who thinks she or he is very, very clever and never shuts up. I started to wonder why I invited them over for the evening. As a middle-aged vegan, you see, I arrived at being fully annoyed with their pithy observation. Don't let the self-involved middle-aged ex-hippie types scare you away from the good thing a co-op can be. Really, some respect for your predecessors, please. I recommend as a better choice for an overall overview book on veganism, The Vegan Source Book by Joanne Stepaniak. Well, at least if you're middle-aged. You old fart.
Oh, boy.
What?
Nothing.
I mean, come on. Plenty of middle-aged people read this book.
I know.
And read that and understand it as a joke, which is what it is.
And
it's like
laugh.
Humor-challenged people get upset. Other people read it. Plenty of middle-aged people have written to us and said, I read your book. It's great. I give it to my kids. And we have people on the forums that read our book and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They understand it's a joke, a funny. You should be able to laugh at yourself. That's the problem with liberals. They're afraid to laugh at themselves. Mm-hmm. And not that I'm conservative, trust me. Oh no. Our tone is called distracting. So these are the bad reviews for our book. Let's see. First of all, there is definitely I'm going through reading the bad reviews, which you don't usually do. But there is definitely a place for a book like this. Every sassy punk rock wannabe vegan in America will love and adore this book. In fact, it's written for them. I repeat, just for them. Otherwise, if you don't really give a crap about whether or not veganism makes you a cool, hip, likable person, well, then you might find this book annoying with all of its clever smugness that I thought was present on almost every page. Now, in the book, we talk explicitly about how, if you're a vegan because you think that it makes you cool, hip, and likable, you're a vegan for the wrong fucking reason!
Yeah.
I hate when people can't read.
I know.
Yep.
And we're going to be just so we can look cool and so we can be, put down by every fucking omnivore we meet.
This is also, I think we talked about this one on the show a long time ago. If you're already vegan, you'll probably like this book. If you're thinking about becoming vegan, don't base your opinions of all vegans on this author. There are two of us. Mm-hmm. From the first page, there are two of us, says that we can't be judgmental towards those who are merely vegetarians or, God forbid, meat eaters. Yet there are two of us, is continually judgmental throughout the entire book, making himself look like a pompous jackass. I am a pompous jackass. Just ask if my mom's listening right now, she's nodding her head. Because she always, you're such a pain in the ass. She always is. No, she doesn't do that much anymore. But when I was growing up, she always thought I was a pompous jackass. Anyway, it's really funny. So everybody else lists other books as to why. Despite these negative reviews, those are the indeed in the minority. And so we have a lot of other good reviews, and I don't really... Oh, wait, I saw something about a lecture. What was that? Where is it? You can talk for a moment.
I don't know. Well,
so anyway...
Let's just get to the last one.
Yeah, I'll shut up now. I'm going on too much, aren't I? Yeah. Well, anyway, the last review we got, the most recent one, it says, there's sure a lot of self-silliness in the vegan movement. Let's not get crazy here, folks. If you want to look unhealthy and miss out on most of the joy of eating in this life, not to mention overcomplicating your grocery shopping, by all means, either pick up this book or move to Portland. This review is from someone named Charlie Heston.
Probably afraid of Ted Nugent.
Why doesn't he have a little hunting accent? And the title was, of the review, Great Book for Extremists Wanting to Look Pasty. So I'm done. Yeah. I'm not going to say anymore. So.
Yeah. Because, you know, we both look pasty and sickly. And
that's the thing I don't get, you know? I mean,
I know.
It's like, hello. I just get annoyed when people, you know, clearly have not read the book and say things about it.
I know.
And that person's just using it to, like, diss vegans,
Of course.
Which really frustrates me to no end.
Yes.
So anyway.
What else did you want to talk about?
I just want to say briefly, another book that came out that I just got my hands on is called The Best War Ever, Lies, Damn Lies, and the Mess in Iraq. It's by Sheldon Ramsden and John Sauber, who have written a variety of books, some of which I really enjoy, like Toxic Sludge is Good for You. It's kind of an older book.
Okay.
They've written a whole bunch of different things. So this book just came out today or yesterday or something. So I'd recommend this book highly. I haven't read it yet, but it looks really good. And it talks about what happens when a government believes its own deceptions and basically propaganda, the news media, and all that stuff. You know, like the U.S. is becoming a country loaded with propaganda. Mm-hmm. So, and speaking of which, that 9/11 documentary on ABC, right?
Yeah, docudrama.
The docudrama on ABC.
But they're treating it like a documentary.
Yeah, that whole thing is ridiculous because what I was thinking about the other day is that the government, like, they collaborate with people who were on the 9/11 Commission to produce this docudrama, which is full of lies, right? Mm-hmm. It made me think this is government backed propaganda. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow. Okay, I'm done ranting and raving. I'm sorry. I apologize to all of you out there if you don't give a shit about our book.
Okay.
If you don't, you should.
No, well, it's annoying, like you said, when people who don't read the book just publish stuff to be anti-vegan.
Well, it's not just our book. I mean, that happens probably to a bunch of other...
sure, I'm sure.
A bunch of other ones, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just sounded like a gunshot outside.
Yeah, I've been hearing those the whole time we've been on the show.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm surprised the dogs aren't going insane because every time they hear them, they go bonkers.
I know.
So let's not jinx it.
That's why we closed the window.
Let's not jinx it. So I'm sorry. Let's move on. Get on to something more interesting.
Okay, we got some voicemails to play.
All right. I don't feel like doing the theme songs.
Okay.
I'll do them.
Time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from.
I just feel like we overdo the voicemail theme songs.
Well, it's because we do voicemails like every week.
I know. But
we don't do emails every week.
True.
Even if all they want to do is fucking complain about the shit
So,
of profanity.
People love to complain. Everyone's an expert. Are we going with Colin?
Hey, Bob and Jenna, it's just Colin. Yeah, I had a good laugh with Bob's pronunciation of goanna on the forum, so I just wanted to bring in and give you an Australian pronunciation of it. Also wanted to comment on Jenna's sort of fears about the scary things in Australia and sort of comment on how sort of that kind of interpretation is a bit blown out of proportion as well. The jellyfish she's referring to is the irukandji, and that's pretty much secluded to far northern Queensland, and also things like sharks and the outback and not going in the water. If you're scared of getting eaten by a shark, you should stay off the roads because you got more chance of getting taken out by a bus. So I just wanted to share that, and I had a bit of a laugh. And thanks for the shows; they're great. Cheers.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a stereotype. I just think it's funny because, well, actually, right after I got your voicemail, I was doing a reading for my class, and it was about Latin American geographies and how basically the point of the article was that if you're not in Latin America, the way you experience Latin America is by sort of consuming images. And that it's based on either people you meet or things you see in a museum. And the things that you see in a museum are, of course, chosen by some random white guy. And this is a British article. So, like, the British Museum has all these things, like, they're chosen by white guys to, what they want to show to represent other places in the world. And, of course, media images, that kind of thing. So I've thought, of course, what we get here from Australia is that, like, oh my God, there are thousands of different ways to die in Australia.
I thought you were going to go to Crocodile Dundee. I mean, isn't that where everyone goes?
Yeah, that sadly. Too. I mean, sadly, what we get over here about Australia is like the nature programs.
That's true.
We get like the shark tales, and especially if you watch a lot of Discovery Channel or TLC.
Yeah, which we do.
Which we do. And that's where we found about the irukandji, the jellyfish.
Well, I appreciate having my pronunciation corrected. I don't even remember what I was talking about. So
yeah, I don't even know how you pronounce it, but somebody else wrote us an email. Are
you going to read that now?
Sure.
Oh, here. This is for me?
We've got two more emails about the Steve Irwin in Australia.
Well, let's do those now.
Yeah, let's talk
put
about them
everything
now.
together.
Mm-hmm.
It's a more synthetic way of doing the show.
Of course, yes. So go ahead.
This is from Nicole H., who we've been corresponding with Nicole H. for a very long time via blogs and stuff like that. So anyway, she said I was going to call and rant down the voicemail line about this, and you really should have. Anyway, but I'm too embarrassed by my accent. Now you have to listen to my accent instead, and it's no better. You know, I don't know where your accent. Why would you be embarrassed by your accent?
Yeah, really.
It's not. I mean, look, Colin just called.
Yeah.
You know, she's Australian, so I don't know why there would be an embarrassment. But anyway, this bout of anger has been indirectly influenced by a bunch of vengeful Australians going on a stingray killing spree to get back at nature for taking their mate Steve Irwin from good old planet Earth. There are often overreactions from the Australian public when someone's taken or injured by a shark or a crocodile, or even when they've been bitten by a snake or a spider, poisonous or not. The immediate reaction is to exact vengeance on the animal by taking its life. Now, I know we share a reasonable amount of species with the rest of the world, but we have a fantastic and often unique range of wildlife and ecosystems here, and it offends my sensibilities as an Australian and a lover of the environments and animals with them when I see these sorts of reactions. Often I'll have to confront this face-to-face when people bring dead snakes or spiders to my work for identification, a museum that deals with natural history. Often after not having been bitten, but merely having been frightened by them. I'm just astounded that people see little to no consequence in these sorts of actions. Further than this, however, people will willingly take the lives of Australian animals for their use as food, fur, or leather. These are animals, such as the kangaroo or saltwater crocodile, that we are proud to see as national animals, but many think of as a resource. But in some strange leap of logic, many of these same people would find it reprehensible to use other emblematic animals, platypus or koalas, for example, as resources of this kind. Why do people make such distinctions on such whims? What makes the life of an... echidna? I guess. The life of an echidna or a koala worth more than a crocodile or redback spider. By the way, pronunciation corrections, 267-295-1944. It is lack of understanding, lack of information about Australia's wildlife, or plain old-fashioned ignorance and poor ethics that leads people to this attitude. It makes me ashamed that fellow Australians can't value the lives of all of our native and introduced species equally. I don't know if any other vegan freaks out there in other countries experience the same sort of thing, but it really adds a whole other level of frustration to the issue of animal welfare and liberation, in my eyes at least. Thanks for letting me blow off some steam. Keep up fantastic work with the podcast and everything else you're up to. So that's from Nicole, and I completely agree. You know, we're willing to just do away with these animals, and it's fucking sad. I
know, and you see it here with like bears. If a bear attacks somebody, they got to go hunt down the bear. Or if one of the large cats, very few large cats that we seem to have around, attacks somebody, then you got to go kill that too. It's just sick. It
is sick, and I don't know. I don't. It frustrates me too. So I feel your pain, and I can imagine how frustrating it is. I guess a lot of people just view it as like nothing big, not a big deal. You know. Oh, it's not a big deal. I killed a bird, or I trapped a bird, or whatever. Or, you can go here and rent traps. You know, it's ridiculous. Bah. What else?
Yeah, we got another email. This one's from Andrew, and he says, "I'm an Australian who just wanted to give a quick story relevant to your last podcast. But first of all, I wanted to play pronunciation Nazi. Goanna is pronounced just like go, just like the word go, and Anna like the name Goanna. Is that right? Okay." On the topic of Steve Irwin, a few months ago I was up in Australia's north, and my brother and I went on a tour of, oh boy, you give me all these tough names again, and you're going to have to be pronunciation Nazi later on. Kakadu? Okay, I don't know. Australia's biggest and probably best known national park, and for good reason. It's an amazing place. On the last day of the tour, we went for a crocodile/wildlife cruise on one of the wetlands. This wetland is one of the most highly crocodile populated areas in the world. Our guide was awesome, really knowledgeable, not only about the many crocodiles we saw, but also about all the birds in the area and other animals. Anyway, at one point he started bagging Steve Irwin out, explaining that the stunts he does with the crocs are bullshit and there's no way he'd be fucking with the crocodiles in their natural environment. He went on to point out that Irwin's zoo is in a colder climate where crocodiles are not native, and seeing as that they are reptiles, the cooler weather means that they are much more docile and are unable to move quickly and probably quite unhealthy too. Thus, Irwin was able to get close to them without much risk. I did never really think much of Steve Irwin or watch many of his quote-unquote documentaries, but I do think that he was mostly well-intentioned. I just disagree with his methods. He definitely wasn't as bad as these fuckers, and he gives a link to an article of someone, it looks like someone arrested for a mass seal killing. Lovely. Anyway, I thought this might be an interesting point relevant to what you were talking about in your last podcast, Andy.
Nice.
Yes.
We'd love to hear from the land down under.
Indeed.
So, yeah, send us those emails, man. We'd love to hear from you. I know it's kind of expensive to call from Australia. You could always record something and send it to us.
That's true.
That's free. Mm-hmm. If you've got an iBook or a lot of laptops have microphones built into them, very simple to record something and send it. You could do it.
Indeed.
It'd be fun to hear from you. So send us your stuff. We'd love to hear from you. Do you have any feedback on the Steve Irwin stuff?
Nah.
No?
No.
No, I mean,
it seems to be like in the news a lot lately.
It really is.
It's
Everybody
amazing.
seems to really miss the...
I didn't think that... I mean, he hasn't really been... He seemed more popular like a couple of years ago, not like lately.
I thought so, too.
So, I don't know. But, whatever.
I don't know.
But now they're showing like all the reruns on Discovery Channel of all this stuff. And,
Joy.
Yay. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, we have another voicemail, do we
yes,
not?
we do. We got three more.
Three more. We're going to... Tofu Punk?
Hi, Bob and Jenna. It's the newly married and sobered up Tofu Punk.
Congratulations.
I woke up this morning with a hangover like you wouldn't believe.
Actually, I believe it.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I'm feeling well now and enjoying married bliss like the two of you. So, yeah. I just thought I would follow up those what I imagine to be really, really crazy-ass voicemails with something that resembles normalcy. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Bye!
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. We actually got several drunk dials from that wedding. One from the guests, Sherbs et al., but the quality was super bad. It kept cutting in and out, so I didn't play it. And the ones from Tofu Punk, I thought I'd spare you the embarrassment, Tofu Punk, because they were really, really bad. I don't think I've ever heard anyone quite that drunk in a long time. You were slurring pretty bad. So I thought I'd play the sobered up Tofu Punk so we can at least congratulate her on her wedding.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. There were pictures on the forums and they looked like a great time. So, getting married, suckos.
Yeah, it's so horrible being married. Right?
It is horrible.
Yeah.
God, it's horrible. Every day is torture. Really, it's like having small pins stuck under my nails every day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, little pieces of bamboo under my nail. No, it's fine. I would do it all over again.
Good.
I would.
Good. I certainly hope so.
I really would. No question about it.
Okay. Funny.
I'm kidding.
I know.
I'm kidding. You know.
I know.
Okay.
Now we got two more voicemails from the same person.
All right.
Okay.
Hi, vegan freaks. I'm calling to tell you that I really love your show, and I've been listening to it like nonstop for the last 5 or 6 hours. And
that'll give you brain damage.
And I wanted to tell you that your show is really making it a lot easier for me to consider going vegan from vegetarian, and really giving me a lot of hints and tips and other things like that to help me on my way. I did want to say one thing, though, and that is that I think sometimes you come off a little elitist, like, hey, we're vegan, we're a lot awesomer than you. And while it may be true that you are a lot awesomer than us lowly vegetarians, I think that might turn off people who have not yet made the switch and be like, well, forget you guys then. So that was all I was going to say. And keep up the good work with your vegan freakiness. And, oh, yeah, I also wanted to say that I really like how you play music in your show, because a lot of the bands that you play I've never heard of before, and now I have a whole arsenal of very hip vegan type music to listen to. And so I thank you for that. Bye.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And for the stuff on the music. A lot of the music is sent to us by our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it comes from my personal collection. Some of it comes from listeners. Some of it comes from who the hell knows where.
Mm-hmm.
We need to talk about the elitism thing. We need to have a little chat. It's not elitism. Because in a sense, elitism would be, I think, arguing that you could never be what we are.
Right.
Right? Instead, you can be what we are. It's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely simple to go vegan.
Mm-hmm.
You just make the choice and you do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that easy.
Yes. And I think if you listen to more of our podcasts, it sounded like you just started listening to them. We have segments in many of them called If You're Not Vegan Yet.
Yes.
And we understand that a lot of our listeners are vegetarian and or trying to be vegan, and that we present to you arguments as to why we think it is a great idea. And I think a lot of what people mistake for elitism is just excitement about being vegan.
Exactly.
Excitement about being part of the community, about living the way that we live. And you'll hear that in a lot of some of the emails and the voicemails we get.
Yeah.
People like it.
I think so too. And I think that it's not really a judgmentalism, right? It's not like you're being judged, right?
Mm-mm.
It's just that I think for a lot of vegans, it's frustrating to know vegetarians who are vegetarians for quote unquote animal rights reasons, because it's a contradiction in terms. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a question of elitism. It's just simply a question of logical consistency, right? The logical consistency of eating, you know, of not eating meat, but eating dairy and eggs. There's no consistency to it because of the ways in which dairy and eggs are produced. And so in a sense, it's almost a level of frustration that we wish people would understand more and make the decisions, if they're vegetarian for animal rights reasons, to do it all the way. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't think it's elitism because I feel like anyone can do it. Mm-hmm. It's a very simple thing to do, mm-hmm. and you just do it. Mm-hmm. Like, I hate to sound like a fucking Nike ad, but you just it really is just as simple. Oh, fucking hell! Assholes.
It's the same guy every week.
I know it. Well, the guy drives around the neighborhood
I know.
all the time. You know, some carefully placed piano wire would take care of that. Anyway,
just kidding.
I'm kidding. Before everyone yells at me for not respecting the sanctity of human life. I don't know. That motorcycle distracted me.
But we say in our book that a vegan just sitting at a table with other people, vegan free, being non-vegan, being vegan in a non-vegan world, as Bob holds it up to me here. We say in our book that a vegan just sitting at the table with vegetarians and omnivores is seen as being judgmental, even if you don't say anything, because you're showing the other people what they're not doing. You know, so that is seen as being totally judgmental.
In fact, here on page 86, it says this is under the title heading "Dealing with Vegetarians," mm-hmm. because you wouldn't expect it, but one place where vegans often have a lot of troubles from vegetarians. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that voicemail was trouble, because it's not. Huh. I've gotten much worse from vegetarians. Mm-hmm. But under that, I say another part of what's going on here is a feeling that we're being judgmental. Mm-hmm. Granted, some vegetarians do have run-ins with judgmental vegans who annoy the hell out of them, but we know enough vegans to confidently say that preachy vegans are a tiny minority in the world of vegan freakdom. What happened to the dog?
He's got an itch. He's trying to itch his head on the carpet.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, even if you aren't being preachy, you can still be perceived as someone who thinks that they're better than everyone else only because you're doing something different than vegetarians. In essence, your choice to avoid what they're eating is perceived as judging them. When vegetarians meet you and learn that you're vegan, they're forced to remember why it is that they're vegetarian, and they have to ultimately confront why they're not vegan too. In that instant, your very presence has likely forced them into some tough thinking. All at once, they've got to come to terms with why they're not vegan, decide if it's something that they're interested in or not, and then also decide how to react to you. If they're really into their cheese, eggs, milk, etc., then the initial reaction may be something like, wow, I'm a vegetarian, but I could never be a vegan. I just don't think I could ever live without my cheese, eggs, milk, etc. This is an understandable reaction, particularly if the person doesn't know many vegans or understand the ethics behind veganism. I'm not saying that that's what happened with that voicemail. Mm-hmm. I'm saying this is a common way that we are perceived as vegans. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So,
yes.
I think the elitism argument is, well, frankly, I think it's crap. I mean, I just think it's wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
And I really do think that, personally, I think everyone should be vegan. And I think it's not hard to go vegan. And I think it's worthwhile.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
There's like a whole cavalcade of motorcycles going by
Yay.
outside.
And a quick if you're not vegan yet segment.
Yeah.
If that thing that I read about the abattoirs earlier bothers you, then you need to be vegan, because that's what happens to dairy cows.
Yep.
And something very similar to that happens to chickens who have been laying eggs. Right? In the end, they all die. And that's what happens to baby veal calves that come from the dairy industry. That's what happened to, the girl calves that don't end up becoming dairy calves. It happens to all of them.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
There is a little bit of veal in every glass of milk.
There is.
And they're buying cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just no humane production of milk. It can't, even organic. Everyone always loves organic. I always get the organic milk. I drink organic milk. I always get that from the vegetarians when they learn I'm vegan. Guess what? Organic cows, they take it too.
Mm-hmm.
And also organic cows are only organic for I forget the number of weeks, but a certain number of weeks prior to when, they actually...
And they can still be factory farmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just ask Horizon.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, isn't the Organic Consumer Association going after them for that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's another voicemail from the same caller. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hey, this is Sarah again.
Hi, Sarah.
I just called, and now I'm calling you again because I remembered a really good question that I have, and I had forgotten to say earlier because I got all excited that I was on the comment line and forgot it. And since I'm not all the way through all your podcasts yet, you may have already addressed this, and if you have, then, well, I suppose you could disregard it. But my question is, why is it that every vegan I've ever met, the chicks anyway, have dreadlocks? What's up with the dreadlocks? Not that I have anything against the dreadlocks. I'm very pro dreadlock. I just want to know if there's some vegan doctrine that says something about dreadlocks being completely necessary. Because, yeah, seriously, every single one. So thanks. Tell me about that if you didn't already. And, yeah, so now I'm going. Bye.
I am so totally not pro dreadlocks. I'm like, you fucking stinky hippie, wash your hair. No, I don't really care what people do with their hair. I really don't give a shit. That's interesting, though.
You need to meet more vegans, man.
I think so.
Because we know a lot of vegans, or have seen a lot of vegans, and I know one.
I know one.
And it's a guy
vegan
that has dreadlocks.
Yeah, me too. Well, Joanne used to have dreadlocks.
Yeah, actually, I know two girls that used to have.
And
Dan's ex.
No, oh, yeah.
Is she still? I don't know.
No, who knows about that?
Who knows?
Dan Pizer from Abolition Radio, I think, used to have dreadlocks as well. You stinky hippie. He told a great joke on their show a while back. What's red and yellow? It smells like patchouli.
What?
A hippie on fire.
Oh, God.
Anyway, yes. No, I love hippies, peace and all that crap. I don't know. I just haven't met that many vegans. I haven't met that many vegans with dreadlocks. I have, however, met a lot of vegans with tattoos. And that was a topic that we talked about.
Indeed.
My mom actually called with that question, why don't you vegans have tattoos, you freaks, or whatever. I do know a lot of vegans with tattoos. So that's one thing I think is common. And my answer about the vegan with tattoo thing was that, in general, people who are vegans are willing to question society and do what they think is right for them. Mm-hmm. And, not that a tattoo is like some great outsider symbol anymore, but I think that a lot of people who have, probably have decided they want one and have the independent spirit to do it. Mm-hmm. Probably the same thing with dreadlocks.
Yes.
Too. It's like, it's something that people realize they want to do as a statement, and they do it for, whatever reason. Because they don't like showers, or they couldn't afford shampoo, or... I'm going to get in so much trouble. Yeah. It's okay. Every time I say something rude on the show, we lose a subscriber. But
oh, well.
It's like every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Every time I say something rude, we lose a subscriber. But oddly, every time I say something rude, we lose one, we gain one.
Okay, well,
so we keep even, right?
All right.
Usually I attract someone through my rudeness and also repel. So I'm not going to... I'm just going to be who I am. It's so much easier.
It is.
And more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I know. Good question. Maybe It could just be that, and also I guess it depends on where you are, right?
Yeah,
if you're
I
in
suppose.
certain places, right? I think maybe there are like groups of people or little cliques of people that hang out together and perhaps have their own little shared ethos about what's cool, and that constitutes the boundaries for coolness, and then things evolve through that. So, I mean, it's quite possible that Sarah, our caller, is in one of those places where this is just like what it means to be fucking hip or whatever. So I don't mean to make fun of you. My intent wasn't to make fun of you.
But we do know vegans from all walks of life.
We do.
Middle-aged, older, younger, teenage, non-tattooed, tattooed. There are a few Republican vegans out there.
Yeah, we do know a few Republican vegans.
Yeah, so
I'm sure they don't listen to the show anymore.
No, probably not.
Well, Mary Sue.
Yes, I know.
Mary Sue.
Yes.
Has
been hanging in there and putting up with us.
She has. It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And speaking of Republicans, Bush is now coming out calling everything now Islamofascism.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Republicans do this a lot? Like they'll call something completely opposite of what they really think it is, or what they're trying to deflect attention away from themselves. You know what I mean? Like themselves. By calling them Islamofascist, they're really trying to cover up the fact that they might be thinking that they're fascist.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just theorizing here. You know, it's like when they talk about freedom initiatives, and they're never about freedom. They're always about restricting freedom as much as possible.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. They have a million different societies like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. Right. What else? That's
all the voicemails.
Okay. Should I play a little theme song?
You should, because it has the phone number in it.
Boom.
267-295-1944. Write the number down on your refrigerator door. Add the 001 country code if you call us from Vienna. That's how you leave a voicemail for good old Bob and Jenna.
That the country code there generated a debate at one point about what was the correct country code. Having lived outside the country, I can't remember.
No.
001, isn't it?
Something like that.
When we lived in Spain, it was 00144 or something like that.
I don't remember.
I don't really remember either. Fuck if I know. Okay.
We have one more remaining email. We already read the other emails. Do you want to do the email themes or not?
How about we just play one email theme?
Okay.
This one.
Okay.
Drop the phone and I'll send you a tenner. Send an email to Bob and Jenna.
Is our soundboard crapping out on us again?
It's going weird. Getting weird again.
Why does it do this at the end of every show?
I don't know. Neither does the guy who wrote the program. He says no idea. I'm going to quit it and reopen it. But you can read the email.
I will read the email. This one is from Frippy. And this is a great email.
Frippity-doo.
Despite the ambiance provided your neighbors, number 45 was a good show and worth the wait. Well, I'm a subscriber, so I did my podcast fix in the meantime.
Oh, we do need a subscriber show soon. We're going to do one soon.
She says, hint, hint, non-subscribers.
Yeah,
thank you. I can't say you've made a show that doesn't make me think, but a lot of what was discussed last time resonated with things I've been thinking about lately. Regarding the heartbreaking story of the little girl watching the so-called sport of dogs fighting wild hogs, I've noticed that one attitude people often present when veganism is discussed is that it is mature and logical to accept that animals must die for us. Doesn't that make sense? After all, if you detest things like factory farming, fur trapping, or Dre's tests, then you must be living in a gumdrop house on Lollipop Lane. I think the first few lines of your theme song sum up this attitude very well. We're taught to slam the door on our emotional response to animal cruelty. I pity that little girl, not just for having been traumatized. What parent would bring a kid to a blood sport anyhow? Good question. But because I fear she'll be forced to come again, become desensitized, and somehow delude herself into thinking that not caring about animals is what grown-ups must do. As for ex-vegans, I confess that I was once an ex-vegan. I think it had to do with a lack of support during a very hard time in my life. I'd unexpectedly lost a parent. The one vegan I did know had started eating dairy once in a while in order to get her new boyfriend to go vegetarian. It was definitely a gradual lapse for me. A free slice of cheese pizza here, a latte from a shop that doesn't carry soy milk there. I can't remember ever denouncing veganism or disparaging vegans. I still cooked from vegan cookbooks, baked vegan cookies and cakes, and poured soy creamer in my coffee at work. And then I heard your podcast. At first I thought, I used to be a vegan, in a droopy-style voice. And then I thought, hey, wait a minute, I can still go back.
That's right.
Indeed. That doesn't explain all ex-vegans, but speaking from experience, maybe ex-vegans that are half-assed vegans who, with little encouragement, could get their whole ass back on the vegan bandwagon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. As for asshole ex-vegans, I think they're snotty because they secretly feel guilty for not having the strong will they thought they had. They love to predict that you'll fail just like they did. I guess it makes them feel better, the poor dears. Again, we're back to that maturity thing. Aggressive ex-vegans like to claim that veganism is, at best, a youthful indiscretion. But then you mature, la-di-da, and you realize you want to eat cruel gourmet shit like foie gras. But it's organics, and the ducks sign waivers and are given flavored lube to eat before the feed tubes are jammed down their gullets, so it's cool. I don't want to prattle on forever, and I'm at work, so I'll close here. Except to say that Mr. Show is indeed the most awesome skit show ever made.
Yes,
it is. If you haven't seen season 3 yet, you must, or you will miss peanut butter, eggs, and dice, and the mustard mayonnaise
ad.
That is the best. Yeah, we saw those. We just watched season 3 not long ago.
It's great.
So that's from Frippy.
Well, thank you, Frippy. And I don't want to disparage ex-vegans too much because they could get back on the bandwagon just like Frippy did.
Yeah, and it does happen. I mean, we were vegetarians for a while and went ex-vegetarian and then went back on the bandwagon. And I think you just it becomes routine. And then you don't think about it. And you're like, oh, well, if I just have this one piece of cheese pizza, it won't really make that much of a difference.
Yeah, it completely becomes, it just becomes a habit and it becomes less conscious.
Mm-hmm. But, so I think that's why it's important to keep going back and reading about it and keeping up with, either, listening to a podcast or keeping up with a blog or a forum or something like that, just to remind yourself why you're doing this.
Stay involved.
Yeah, because it is easy if you're not thinking about it, if you don't know any other vegans, just to sort of slip back into, not thinking about it.
Word.
But I think also that for a lot of people that just at some points in their life, it's just not the right time. And then eventually these people will go back to it when it is right. I mean, that happened with us,
Yeah, it does. It did. Blah, blah, blah.
We just, this is one point in our life where like, this is the thing we have to do and we're going to do this forever now.
Yeah, I think it's true.
And some people, it happens when they're a teenager.
Yeah.
Others it doesn't. So it's just the asshole ex-vegans, like you said, are the ones that are annoying.
Tom Reagan's book talks about this. I mean, some people have a moment of flashing inspiration they know and they have known for a long time. Other people take years to figure it out and think through it and do it and all that. So it varies. Everyone's different.
Yep.
You can always come back.
You can.
We'll always have you back.
We will.
As long as you stay.
Yeah, but I saw you looking at that cartoon book again.
Oh yeah, I was just.
Yeah.
What?
No, it makes the point that we've mentioned this before on the show that
we have. This is Hold Fast, Sisters and Brothers.
Yeah.
It's by Travis Nichols and ilikeapplejuice.com. It's a cute little book Dino talked about on a vodcast, and we've talked about on the show a long while ago. But I like to talk about it every so often because you might forget, and it's a great little book, and it's just the coolest little comic book. And it has this kind of little character in it, and basically, little character, it says, there are things those of us who do not accept things as they are. We see potential for this world. And it's like a little happy world, and like little things jumping up and down, looking all excited. And then it says, and it all boils down to this. This is a story about temptation and conviction. Every vegan has slip-ups, and there's a little vegan looking like a little bear. Holding something in his hand, reading the wrapper, and he says, oops. Especially in the first few months. Casing is what? Oh, crud. Little character.
Oh, yeah.
After a while, you get used to it. You learn the code words. You get a feel for what you can eat, where, use, etc. But you constantly discover new challenges along the way. Oh, I guess I'll just stay away from Mexican beer. A little thing looks quite upset. And oh, the temptations. Have some cake. No! And so someone's being offered a piece of cake. Okay, here's a better example. The following events took place on September 13th, 2003. And the little character's eating an apple and says, munch, munch, munch next to it. And it says, oh, someone left out half a cinnamon roll. And then the frame is the person looking at a cinnamon roll, and then the next frame is just a cinnamon roll. And then the third frame on the page is a little guy ducking back in looking at the cinnamon roll. Like, And then he says, I could just take one bite. And then it's a little picture of the guy and a little thought bubble, and it has all the cows on it. And the next one is a thought bubble of the cows going into the stockyard. And then he says no. And then he's watching TV, and he's watching some more TV. And then all of a sudden his little bubble pops up and says, and he goes into the kitchen and says, and he's looking at the little cinnamon roll. It says, what's crack-a-lackin'? Oh, I'm just hanging out and watching TV, the guy says. Cool. Hey, you want a bite? Little cinnamon roll says. No thanks, I'm a vegan. And the little cinnamon roll says, so you contain milk and eggs and stuff. And the little cinnamon roll says, oh, well, I don't mind. And the little guy says, well, that's not really your call, though. And the cinnamon roll says, I see. Anyway, I'm going to watch TV now. And the cinnamon roll says, okay. So he's watching TV. And then the cinnamon roll comes over his chair. It says, eat me. And the little vegan says, no. And it says, eat me. And the little vegan says, no. And it says, eat me. No. And it's real loud. It says, eat me. That's it, evil pastry. Reveal your true form. And you turn the page and it's a pastry turning into Satan with a little pitchfork. That's right, I'm Satan, and it's a little pastry with pitchfork with wings. Actually, those are cloven hooves, I think, not pastry. But anyway, seriously, dude, just eat the cinnamon roll. What's the big deal? And the guy says, well, we live in a society where animals are created, raised, and finally killed for our use. I have a problem with that. And the devil goes, look, you spend all day and night reading labels and feeling guilty. It's like no way to live. Let me help you. And he's poking the little guy with a pitchfork. Say the word and I'll make you forget all this vegan nonsense. Forget it, the guy says. You think this world will change? It won't, the devil says. I can see the future. And there's like little flames in his eyes and shit. Ha ha, no you can't. Yeah, I know. Well, I guess I'll go back to hell now, the devil says. And the little vegan says, wait, do you want a smoothie? And the devil says, yeah, I'd like that. And so... wow, what's in the stir fry, the devil says. Rice, carrots, potatoes, tofu, those mini corn things, cabbage, beans, sprouts, soy sauce, spices, onions, tomatoes, broccoli, and stuff. You know what would be good in this? Baby pig heads, says Satan. And he takes off. Oh, Satan, and that's the end. But that's really a funny little book. Misanthropy originally gave me a copy, and then I went and bought another copy from because the dog ate the first one. The dog ate the first one. And anyway, you can find that. It's a great little book. It's like the size of a little bigger than a U.S. business card, and it's a cool little book, man. You should just go to Travis Nichols' website, ilikeapplejuice.com, and it's like $2 or $3.
Yeah, go buy it. Support another cool vegan.
Yeah, I mean, some vegan out, Travis Nichols out there is a vegan writing cool little vegan comics, and it's funny as hell. And every so often, I just go back and reread it. I have it on my desk, and like if I need a cheering up or anything, I just
the little characters are so cute.
They are, and I've probably bored the fuck out of everyone now.
It's a good story.
With story time with Bob.
It's a good story. Yes. It's a happy ending.
Sort of.
The devil's still out there, though.
The devil starts eating the stir fry, but he's still out there. So yeah.
Yes.
And
you can get vegan sticky rolls online.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did you look? Can you?
Not the ones from Vegan Treats.
They were.
If you are in the Allentown, Bethlehem area, or if you're in New York City, or if you're in Philadelphia, you can get the ones from Vegan Treats, which is really good. But the Sticky Fingers mails them to you, or you can make them yourself.
The dogs are going to bark. Let's close the show.
Okay.
So anyway,
what were you going to say? I interrupted you.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Beats the shit out of me. You think I remember what I'm going to say on these shows? I just talk. It just comes out. People are like, I see people sometimes, and, or people email me and talk about the show, and they're talking about something, and I cannot remember what we talk about. It's like a little zone of forgetfulness. I talk on the show, and it's all gone, and I don't remember any of it. It's like when I lecture in class. Like, what? Huh?
I said that? What?
Did I say that? Nothing scarier about being a professor than seeing students regurgitate crap back to you. It's like, oh my, did I say that? No, you didn't say that. That's just what they thought you said. Or what they thought you said at 2 a.m. before the paper was due at 8 a.m. All right, well, let's close this. Let's put an end to this thing.
All right. You can contact us.
Podcast@veganfreak.com. We'd love to hear from you. We do try to respond to emails.
Yeah.
It takes us some time, though.
Sometimes it takes... I just wrote a bunch today. I will be sending out buttons like Monday or Tuesday. It's just like last week I didn't get to the post office before it closed at all, so...
Well, we get there. It's just you got to be patient. And if there's something urgent, you can always send a couple.
Yeah.
So
267-295-1944.
Put it on your refrigerator door.
Show notes, podcast.veganfreak.com.
And all kinds of stuff there at podcast.veganfreak.com.
You can subscribe, become a
$4
a month.
Yeah.
It's like one
We're gonna have
latte.
another. We're gonna have a. We're gonna.
There you
we're gonna have a subscriber show soon. So, all right, let's close this.
All right.
Everybody, take it easy.
Bye.
They're still gonna bark over this. not vegan.